Well, San Diego real estate market is definitely softening here, but how low can it go? My good buddy Brian Street is here. What's going on, brother?
Thanks for having me.
Great to see you. I would love to get your insights. What's going on right now? What you think is going to happen next? A lot of people kind of pontificating both directions. I think we hear a lot of extreme views. There's some definite fear in the marketplace. We'll probably be in a recession next week.
Right.
So we have a number of things circling. What are you seeing?
Definitely price corrections for sure. You know, affordability has been impacted so negatively since the middle of March, as you're well aware as I am. Interest rates have pretty much doubled.
Pretty much.
If not just shy of that. You know, I'll use a community that I typically dominate in North Escondido. We had a property sell for $940. Blew away the record for the area. Period. Closing the end of April. Model match up the street just went under contract for $750.
What?
Yeah, it's somewhat of a disparity between upgrades and whatnot between the two homes, but not $200,000. You know what I mean? So
wow. Was the 940 a big outlier?
It had a larger lot. It was completely updated. Had own solar on it. But it wasn't like head and shoulders above the property that went under contract last week. So I guess we got to find the market still. I mean, stuff's still moving, but inventory's up. I think 40% last I checked, which was last week. Is probably up a little bit more since say middle of March when interest rates spiked. What do I think's going to happen? I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. The indicators that I'm watching is credit card spending, which is up significantly quarter over quarter. I think March to May was the largest increase in household credit card spending in recorded history, if I'm not mistaken. People are having to decide between gas and groceries, and one of them's getting paid for on the debit card, the other one's going on the credit card. How long can that last?
That's a good question. Yeah.
And then what? HELOCs. People are going to start pulling HELOCs, right, to maintain that lifestyle.
I've had more inquiries for HELOCs in the past, let's say 3-4 weeks. Because we can do HELOCs. It's not my thing, but we have the ability to do it. They're a pain in the butt. And they do serve a little bit of a purpose for people who want to get cash out or do something and have that great rate on the first.
Right.
But yeah, definitely a spike in HELOC inquiries. I can tell you that firsthand. That comp bomb you were talking about earlier, because that's always like people, who want to say, hey, the market might go down or the market's headed lower. You have to have homes sell for under the comps, right, in order for that to happen.
Sure.
And I call those comp bombs, when you have someone come in and
clever.
That's definitely that's like a nuke.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That's a comp nuke.
There's 5 other homes on the market currently in that community. One listing being mine. We should have gone under contract, a week ago.
Any offers?
We've had a couple of second showings, inquiries about potential homeowners insurance. We're in North County inland, so the extreme fire zones are somewhat of a concern. I know my homeowners insurance doubled overnight last summer, thanks state of California.
Yeah.
And the fine they levied against PG&E,
that's what did it?
That's what did it, and then it trickled down through the insurance companies.
Yeah, because you have to get the California Fair Plan in some cases, right?
That's the only option in some areas.
Yeah.
So
if buyers are just kind of checking every single box now,
right.
Not rushing in anything.
Yeah. The bidding war, that ship sailed. 15 offers in 15 minutes that ain't happening. You're lucky to get 2 or 3.
So what do you suggest for pricing a home then in a situation like that where we're kind of blue ocean and there's potential for comp bombs? Just beat the competition?
You don't want to give it away either. That comp bomb really sucks for that complex because it is isolated. It's 214 units inside of a gate, North Escondido. There isn't another planned unit development within 4 miles as the crow flies. So, you have to get creative. You get lucky. You got a buyer coming in that's got a ton of cash. They really want the home, that kind of thing. It's going to be an uphill battle in this complex for the foreseeable future. And I can't imagine it's not happening elsewhere. But it's affordability is the bottom line, man. And to your point from your post, I think it was last week, about maybe 2 weeks ago, $11 trillion in home equity currently in the U.S. When we start pulling HELOCs,
and
then that evaporates.
Yeah.
Right now, what?
That's been my big question and I've been trying to advise this. I know you're probably getting sick of me saying this, but to take heed of your finances. Where do you stand? What do your expenses look like? How much are you spending? How much are you bringing in? What does the future for that look like? How much are you saving? Are you saving anything? Are you building debt? Some people don't realize it, but like if you chart it, go back and look at your actual chart. Like, hey, what was my previous? Go look at previous credit card statements. Oh, we had a $6,000 balance, and we had an $11,000 balance. Now we have a $17,000 balance. If that's going up and you're not saving, then you need to take a look at things, because my biggest concern is that we've gotten so used to things being so good for so long,
right,
that we've forgotten how to do the basics of budgeting and whatnot. And we'd rather take a HELOC than change our lifestyle.
Right.
And that's what I'm worried about is, okay, what are we getting HELOCs for? Are we consolidating debts? Are we making an investment? Some people, hey, I want a HELOC because I want ADU. Cool. Like, I'll thumbs up that all day.
Sure.
Hey, I want a HELOC because I might want to do a few different things.
Yeah.
Okay. Are those things investments, or are we just going to get an $800 a month payment added to your debts? So, that's the one thing we're really not sure about. Like, what's going to happen? Are people going to be financially responsible? Unfortunately, traditionally, that's not the case. Traditionally, people aren't great with managing finances. And so if you have an abundance of wealth, a good example is like with our kids. You look at your kids, you're like, okay, do I want to leave my kids, a certain amount of money, when they're 18, or a college fund, or when I die, or whatever? Do I want to just drop them a lump sum of money, or do I want to have them given a little bit of money, or is that even a good thing?
Yeah.
For people like me who grew up and didn't really have much, I look at it and I go, well, maybe that's not a good thing, because some of the people who I know who had the silver spoon, they turned out to be brats.
Yeah.
And so have we become collectively bratish?
Absolutely.
That's the question,
right? To your point, I have a trust. I grew up not wealthy. Kind of made my own way. And some of the things I built into the trust for inheritance, specifics is my kids have to have a bachelor's of science in something, right? We're not going to inherit, whatever we inherit, with bachelor's of arts degree and, underwater basket weaving, whatever. And then it's issued to them at a certain point, landmarks in their lives, right? So I think it's 25, they get X amount, and then at 40. Assuming, I'm gone.
Yeah.
And I think that structure keeps, at least mitigates the potential for that brat thing, although I'm doing terrible all day, every day. Right now, Daddy, can I get more Robux? Or whatever the game is that they're playing, it's like, Christ. Yeah, sure. You know what? Do it. Here we go. Can we go to this morning? I was sitting out back by the pool, doing emails and whatever, and my kid comes out and she's like, doesn't say much, right? I'm like, what's on your mind? She's like, oh, nothing. I'm like, well, what are you thinking about? No, nothing. Are you pondering anything? She's like, well, can we spend some time together and go to Starbucks? Let's go.
A great way to ask.
It's $15 or whatever. She got her cake pop and her little beverage, whatnot. But you do that 8-10 times a month. It becomes real money.
Yeah, and those the small ticket items, that's definitely when you're really good at budgeting, you're paying attention, you're noticing those things. And I think the big question is on the big ticket items. Like, are people going to keep buying that luxury car? Are people going to keep buying the new bed, the new furniture, the new appliances, the new toys, the second homes? I can't tell you how many people I know bought second homes, and it's actually one of my buddies. Love the guy. But when he announced he had bought a second home, I instantaneously thought, it's the top. This is it.
Yep.
Boy, he's a good barometer person to just say like your average Joe.
Sure.
And
was that second home in Idaho?
No,
okay,
Big Bear.
We're talking about. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's Big Bear. And I was like, damn, that's kind of a top signal for second homes. Because a lot of people bought second homes. A lot of people bought Airbnbs.
Yeah.
A lot of people have bought, and it's their first one.
Right.
And not that that's a bad thing. I think it's great for people to do stuff like that. But when you see it kind of happening in droves, it makes you step back and go, okay, is that a potential problem that's lining up?
If the herd's running with it, it's probably too late.
Yeah, it could be.
It's close. Yeah.
And so I guess it's been doing well for them. Airbnb-wise, it's been working out. And so I think that's good. And we don't have a huge contingent of Airbnbs in our marketplace, but they're definitely out there.
Right.
They're definitely out there. They're getting pinched for licensure and just government overreach, in my opinion. But It's that meme. I don't know if you've ever seen of the guy who goes to the DMV and he goes, "I'm here to pay for a piece of paper that allows me to use my property."
Yeah. Right. I know. I've got a client out of Colorado. We've been looking for. It's been pushing 2 years for a property in coastal Oceanside or Carlsbad that because they have the zones in which they allow it.
Yeah.
And I think they do a great job at mitigating, or at least keeping it, from being everywhere kind of
Crazy.
deal. So
Yeah.
I think but it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It's harder. It's more difficult. And so when I look at those things, those are kind of the macro things I'm kind of looking at to just say, all right, well, where are we in the path, in the process of a cycle? And there are things that show that we're closer to a top. We're definitely not at a bottom. We know that.
Yeah.
So things kind of point to a top. But the question is, will prices really come down significantly, or will we just kind of go sideways for a while with a few opportunities, like the person who got that 750 deal? I also had a buyer who got one for 675 that appraised for 741. They saved the day. That one fell out. They came in and we'll save the day. Just so I haven't put together off market.
Sure.
So I've seen a couple of those, comp bombs myself that seem to be circumstantial and not necessarily
The rule.
the market.
Right.
So will that become the market, I guess, is the question.
I think it's kind of here to stay, right? I think we bottom out. If you're going to paint me in a corner, I think 25% is the worst case, right? Obviously, interest rates, affordability. It comes down to affordability.
It does.
Right? And even at what was the par rate today for VA? 5 probably, or did it go down again today?
4.75.
4 3/4. All right. Better than 3/4 of a point better than my first VA purchase in 2008. But at the same time, we've gotten the American consumer hooked on the strongest drug possible, cheap money.
Yeah.
Right. And it's been 7 years. I mean, we had that blip in 19. Was it 19 where the Fed ran up the rate pretty fast and the market just kind of freaked out? And that was temporary.
There's been 2 of those instances. One was 2014. I think one was 2018. And the market freaked out and then they just pulled back.
Yeah, they pulled all the way back, and then refi boom times 3. For you guys, the lenders, and that. And I think lifestyle expansion is eventually going to creep in as much as when we're making hay. It's easy to take those those $10, $12, $15,000 trips or whatever with the family, and now it's like we might have some slim quarters in front of us, which is fine. I'm
Part of the business, right?
It is, and I think this is going to lead to a herd thinning for us somewhat. Everybody and their sister-in-law, right, got licenses, whether it was mortgage or real estate or both. And the quality of service out there, I've seen it decline significantly. You've got your long ball hitters like you and a handful of other guys in the county here. But the gimmicks just seem to recreate themselves or duplicate daily.
Yeah. Everywhere. I'd love to get your thoughts on this just in general while I have you here. For sellers coming to the market right now.
Sure.
We know that the things we've been talking about are bad for sellers.
Right.
Good for buyers for the most part, right? Like, hey, more options, more inventory, prices coming down.
Let's be honest, it was insane for like a year.
Yeah.
15 months, something like that.
Yeah, a year and a half, yeah. So for sellers coming into this market, maybe they have been seeing that going on. Maybe they're not too clued into what's happening exactly. They'll have 6 months ago in their head.
Right.
What is your number one just tip for, hey, I'm getting ready to, list my home in the next few months.
Right.
How do you help them approach that?
For the trailing insanity year and a half, right? It was just throw it on the market, don't even bother cleaning it up, shoot it, put it on, boom, you got 15 offers and you're getting 80 grand more than you ask, right? Now it's all about curb appeal, in my opinion. Fresh coat of paint on the exterior, the less that buyer's gonna have to come in and do, right? Because now they're paying, $4,200 a month instead of $3,300 a month, right? So that discretionary income or that discretionary revenue, household revenue, just isn't there anymore. Right, so curb appeal, back to the basic: kitchen, flooring, master bath. Right, you don't have to go crazy, right? But the Golden Girls-esque gold trimmed fixtures, in the bathrooms, or even walk in the front door and the fixture, came over on the Mayflower, right? Hasn't been swapped out yet. The little stuff. You don't have to go crazy spending a bunch of money because you're going to run into timing issues, whether it's materials and being able to get them or labor. Right, and then everybody's, contractors are slammed still. They're probably backed up 90 days, 120 days. At least that's unless I pull the ripcord, like specifically for my painter, who's probably the best in the county that I'm aware of. It's 2 weeks, 3 weeks out. And I'm like, Dave, I need it now.
Yeah.
So time's of the essence.
So you think?
I think it's curb appeal.
Curb appeal and
Yeah,
tidy it up.
Tidy it for sure. It's folks are driving by, you get a ton of activity, just drive-bys, traffic, whatever. And if your neighbors, right, are all, properties sun faded or, the grass is shot or something like that, or whatever. It's just if you could stand out, it's going to be like, okay, well, that's one thing less that we have to do from a buyer's perspective.
Tee it up.
Tee it up.
Okay, that makes sense. And I'll definitely say one thing here too. Definitely consult with your agent first before you go and do these things, because it's really easy to put the money in the wrong place.
For sure.
Hey, we put a $10,000 entry gate at the driveway.
Yeah, no.
People probably don't even want that. There's a lot of things that you could do that won't help one bit.
Right.
And then there's some things you could do that are really inexpensive.
Yep.
That might help a ton.
Sure.
So definitely consult your agent before you go and spend that money on that stuff.
I can't tell you how many times, Derrick, where I've seen somebody put just very complicated or even ornate landscaping plan in, hit the market, sell, buyers move in, first thing that goes, boom,
Destroy it.
all that landscaping's gone. Well, it's $25,000 just out of here. There's no reason to go crazy.
Yeah, you don't need to go crazy, but spend the money in the right places.
Exactly.
That way.
And on that point, for prospective sellers, we touched on the industry growing, having a lot of new people in it. The quality is not always there, right? Interview 3-4 agents, right? And if they don't understand finance, at least basically, right, when it comes to loans or loan products, and can navigate, the whether it's VA, FHA, or conventional, or USDA, if it qualifies for that, or even just a basic understanding of like money and how it works.
Yeah.
The economy, because unfortunately, it isn't that hard to get a real estate license in the state of California, right? Not everybody is the same when it comes to, one, intellect, two, ability to digest and consume the data that's out there, because it's changing daily.
It is, and I think it's important.
It's super important, to have a wide-ranging knowledge, not just, I can get through these 38 pages of, an offer and home inspection, whatever. There's a lot more to it than that.
Yeah, especially experience with cycles.
Right.
You've seen a cycle or two of things changing.
Yep.
And how many properties have you listed, and sold in your career is a good question to ask again.
For sure.
Because you're right. There are a lot of people in the last year or two who have gotten in the business, and some of them are doing really well, and maybe some of them are really great agents.
Yeah.
But would you want to throw a dart at the wall, and hope? You don't have to do that, so there's no reason to do it.
Yeah, and as the industry starts and continues to contract some, specifically with people in it, it's going to get bloodier and bloodier.
Very, very well could.
There's going to be some shady stuff going on.
Yeah, that's totally possible.
Undercutting, backstabbing, all that. I mean, it's happening. I've seen it.
Unavoidable.
Without a doubt. It's like, well, you're going to be a bartender in 6 weeks.
Ryan Street.
Yeah.
Great to see you, my friend.
Tks for
Always
having
good
me.
to see
Really
you.
appreciate it.
Hey, share this with your friends. Let's help make them smarter than everyone else.